Crash landing. The silence of deep space was shattered by the blaring of alarms. Inside the sleek exploration vessel, Lieutenant Commander Jason Carter jolted awake, his years of training kicking in immediately. Red warning lights bathed the cockpit in an eerie glow as he frantically scanned the instrument panels. "Computer, status report," Jason barked, his fingers flying over the controls. "Multiple system failures detected. Hull integrity compromised. Planetary impact imminent," the AI responded in its maddeningly calm voice. Jason's heart raced as he saw the looming planet through the viewscreen, its swirling atmosphere of deep purples and blues growing larger by the second. He'd been on a routine survey mission in an uncharted sector when a sudden gravitational anomaly had knocked his ship off course. Now, as the ship plummeted towards the alien world, he knew his only chance of survival was to somehow guide the crippled vessel to a somewhat controlled crash landing. "Come on, you bucket of bolts," Jason muttered, wrestling with the controls. "Just hold together a little longer." The ship bucked and shuddered as it hit the upper atmosphere, flames licking at the hull. Jason gritted his teeth, using every ounce of his skill and training to keep the nose up and slow their descent. The ground rushed up to meet them, a landscape of strange, twisting rock formations and patches of iridescent vegetation. With a bone-jarring impact, the ship slammed into the alien soil, carving a deep furrow as it skidded to a halt. For a long moment, Jason sat motionless in his chair, hardly daring to believe he was still alive. Then, with a groan, he unstrapped himself and stumbled to his feet. "Computer, atmospheric analysis," he wheezed, tasting blood in his mouth. Atmosphere is composed primarily of nitrogen and oxygen, with trace elements of unknown composition. Breathable, but caution is advised. Jason nodded, grimacing as he took stock of his injuries. Nothing seemed broken, but he was pretty sure he had a concussion and some nasty bruising. He grabbed an emergency med kit and a survival pack, then made his way to the airlock. With a hiss, the door slid open, and Jason took his first breath of alien air. The landscape that greeted him was both beautiful and unsettling. The rock formations he'd glimpsed from above twisted into impossible shapes, defying gravity. The vegetation pulsed with bioluminescence, casting an otherworldly glow in the dim light of the planet's twin suns. And the air, there was something about it that made the hairs on the back of Jason's neck stand up. "Well, Carter," he muttered to himself, "you wanted to explore strange new worlds. Looks like you got your wish." As Jason began to set up a makeshift camp near his ruined ship, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He chalked it up to paranoia at first, but as the alien day wore on, the sensation only grew stronger. It wasn't until he was checking the perimeter of his camp that he saw them, a pair of luminous eyes peering at him from the shadows of a twisted rock formation. Jason froze, his hand instinctively going to the laser pistol at his hip. "Hello," he called out, trying to keep his voice steady. "I mean you no harm. I'm a peaceful explorer from Earth." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then slowly, a figure emerged from the shadows. Jason's breath caught in his throat as he took in the alien's appearance. It was humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin was a pale lavender, with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and dance in the fading light. Large, almond-shaped eyes regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and wariness, and atop its head, a crown of delicate, antenna-like appendages twitched and swayed. "Earth," the alien said, its voice melodious and strangely accented. "We have heard whispers of your kind, but never thought to see one in the flesh." Jason blinked in surprise. You speak English." The alien tilted its head. "We speak many tongues. Your language is simple, easy to learn." Despite the gravity of his situation, Jason couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement. First contact with an alien species. This was what he'd dreamed of since he was a kid staring up at the stars. "My name is Jason Carter," he said, lowering his hand from his weapon in a gesture of peace. "I'm a lieutenant commander in the Earth Exploration Fleet. My ship crashed here, and I'm in need of assistance. The alien regarded him for a long moment, its antenna-like appendages twitching rapidly. Then, to Jason's surprise, it stepped forward and placed a six-fingered hand on his chest. "I am Zira," the alien said, "scientist of the Luminary people, and you, Jason Carter of Earth, are about to change everything." Before Jason could respond, a low rumble shook the ground. Zira's eyes widened, and she grabbed Jason's arm with surprising strength. "We must go," she hissed. "Now, the Guardians approach, and they do not take kindly to outsiders." As if on cue, a massive shape loomed on the horizon, a creature that looked like a cross between a centipede and a mountain, its segmented body easily the size of a skyscraper. Jason felt a primal fear grip him as the thing let out a bone-shaking roar. "What the hell is that?" he gasped as Zira pulled him along. "That," Zira said grimly, "is why your people have never found us before. Come, Earthman. If you wish to survive this world, you must trust me." And with that, Jason found himself running for his life across an alien landscape, guided by a being he'd just met, pursued by a monster straight out of his worst nightmares. As they ducked into a hidden K-system, Jason realized that his mission of peaceful exploration had just become something far more complex and dangerous. The K-system was a maze of twisting tunnels, illuminated by the same bioluminescent organisms Jason had seen on the surface. Zira moved with confidence, leading him deeper into the underground network. After what felt like hours of running, they finally emerged into a vast cavern that took Jason's breath away. Before them sprawled an entire city carved into the rock itself. Graceful spires reached towards the cavern ceiling, while bridges of light connected various levels. And everywhere, there were luminary, thousands of them, going about their daily lives in this hidden metropolis. "Welcome," Zira said, a hint of pride in her voice, "to Lumina, the last bastion of my people." Jason stared in awe, trying to take it all in. "It's incredible," he managed to say. "But why hide? Why live underground like this?" Zira's expression grew somber. "It is a long and painful story, Earthman. One that I fear you are now a part of, whether you wish to be or not." As they made their way through the city, drawing curious stares from the Luminary inhabitants, Jason couldn't shake the feeling that he had stumbled into something far bigger than a simple crash landing. Little did he know that his arrival on this mysterious world was about to set in motion a chain of events that would change not only his life, but the fate of two civilizations forever. Secrets of the Luminary. As Jason followed Zira through the bioluminescent streets of Lumina, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had stumbled into a cosmic fairy tale. The underground city pulsed with an otherworldly energy, its architecture a mesmerizing blend of organic curves and crystalline structures that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "Zira," Jason said, his voice hushed with awe, "I've visited dozens of planets, but I've never seen anything like this. How have you managed to stay hidden for so long?" The alien scientist's antenna twitched, a gesture Jason was beginning to recognize as a sign of deep thought. "Our story is one of both triumph and tragedy, Earthman. Come, there is someone you must meet." They approached a towering spire that seemed to be made entirely of living light. As they entered, Jason felt a tingling sensation wash over him, as if he were passing through an energy field. Inside, the walls pulsed with complex patterns that Jason realized were the start or actually streams of data. "Is this some kind of supercomputer?" he asked, reaching out to touch one of the glowing walls. Zira gently caught his hand. "In a manner of speaking, this is the Nexus, the living heart of our civilization, and it has been waiting for you, Jason Carter." Before Jason could process his cryptic statement, a shimmering hologram materialized before them. It took the form of an elderly luminary, its body adorned with intricate, glowing markings. "Greetings, child of Earth," the hologram spoke, its voice resonating not just in Jason's ears, but somehow within his mind as well. "I am the Archon, keeper of the Luminary's most sacred knowledge. Your arrival has been foretold. Jason blinked, struggling to find his voice. Foretold? I don't understand. I'm just an explorer who crashed on your planet. The Archon's eyes seemed to peer into Jason's very soul. There are no accidents in the cosmic dance, Jason Carter. Your people believe they are alone in charting the stars, but the truth is far more complex. We are all players in a grand game, one that spans millennia and galaxies. As if responding to the Archon's words, the walls of the Nexus erupted in a dazzling display of images. Jason saw flashes of Earth's history, but from angles he'd never imagined. Ancient monuments aligned with star systems, unexplained technological leaps, and strange artifacts that had baffled archaeologists for centuries. You mean, you've been watching us? Jason asked, his mind reeling. Zira placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. Not just watching, Jason, guiding, protecting. The Luminari are part of an ancient coalition of species tasked with shepherding younger races towards a greater cosmic destiny. The Archon nodded solemnly. But our mission is in peril. The Guardians you encountered on the surface are once our greatest creation, designed to protect this world from outside threats. But they have grown beyond our control, evolving into something far more dangerous. Jason's military training kicked in, pushing aside his awe and confusion. Is that why you're hidden down here? You're afraid of your own creations? It is more complicated than that, Zira said, her antenna drooping slightly. The Guardians are linked to the very fabric of our world. If they are destroyed, this entire planet could become unstable. But if left unchecked, they will eventually breach our defenses and annihilate us. The Archon's hologram flickered, its voice taking on an urgent tone. This is where you come in, Jason Carter. Your arrival was prophesied in our most ancient texts. You possess something unique, something that could be the key to our salvation, and perhaps the salvation of the entire galaxy. Jason shook his head, overwhelmed. Me, I'm just a regular guy. What could I possibly have that your advanced civilization doesn't? Zira and the Archon exchanged a meaningful look. Then, to Jason's shock, Zira began to change. Her lavender skin shifted, taking on a more human-like tone. Her features rearranged themselves until Jason found himself staring at himself. What the hell? He gasped, stumbling backward. Zira quickly reverted to her original form. Apologies for the shock, Jason. This is the gift of our people, the ability to adapt, to change our very genetic structure. But it is also our greatest weakness. The Archon continued. The Guardians were created with this same adaptability, but they have evolved beyond our ability to control. They no longer shift forms, they assimilate them, growing ever larger and more powerful. But you, Jason Carter, possess something they cannot overcome. Which is? Jason asked, still trying to wrap his head around what he'd just seen. Humanity's greatest strength, Zira said with a smile. Your unpredictability, your creativity, the very chaos of your genetic code that makes you uniquely human. The walls of the Nexus erupted in a new series of images, flashes of human history, of wars and triumphs, of art and invention. Jason saw the pyramids being built, Leonardo da Vinci sketching his inventions, Einstein scribbling equations, and astronauts setting foot on the moon. Your people have achieved in millennia what takes most species eons, the Archon said. This adaptability, this drive to innovate and overcome, it is something the Guardians cannot assimilate or predict. Jason felt a weight settling on his shoulders, the magnitude of what they were asking finally sinking in. So, what exactly do you need me to do? Zira's expression was a mixture of hope and concern. We need you to do what humans do best, Jason Carter. We need you to change the game, to find a solution where we see only impossibilities. The Archon's hologram stepped forward, its eyes blazing with an intensity that made Jason's breath catch. Will you help us, child of Earth? Will you stand with the Luminari and face a threat beyond imagining? The fate of not just this world, but countless others, hangs in the balance. Jason looked from Zira to the Archon, then back at the swirling images of human achievement on the walls of the Nexus. He thought of his crashed ship on the surface, of the monstrous guardian that had chased them. He thought of Earth, blissfully unaware of the cosmic drama unfolding across the stars. Finally, he squared his shoulders and met the Archon's gaze. "I crashed on this planet by accident," he said, his voice steady. "But if there's a chance I can help, if there's something only a human can do to save your people and protect others, then I'm in, whatever it takes." Zira's antenna quivered with what Jason now recognized as excitement. The Archon's hologram seemed to glow brighter, and the very walls of the Nexus pulsed with renewed energy. "Then let us begin," the Archon intoned. "For the first time in eons, the Luminari dare to hope. And it is all because of you, Jason Carter, the human who fell from the stars." As the Nexus hummed with activity around them, Jason couldn't help but feel a mix of terror and exhilaration. He had come to this planet seeking new discoveries, but he never imagined he'd find himself at the center of an intergalactic conflict. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he knew one thing for certain: life would never be the same again. The quantum crucible. As the enormity of his task settled upon Jason's shoulders, the Nexus chamber began to shift and transform. The pulsing walls coalesced into a dizzying array of holographic displays, each one showcasing a different aspect of Luminari technology and Guardian physiology. "Behold, the quantum crucible," Zira announced, her antenna vibrating with excitement. "This is where we'll forge our last hope against the Guardians." Jason stepped forward, his eyes wide as he took in the swirling vortex of data and energy. "It's incredible. But how exactly am I supposed to help? I'm not a scientist or an engineer." The Archon's hologram flickered to life beside him. "Your role, Jason Carter, is not to understand our technology, but to infuse it with something uniquely human, the spark of unpredictability that defines your species." As if on cue, a sleek, almost organic-looking helmet descended from the ceiling. Zira gently took it and held it out to Jason. "This is the neural interfacer. It will allow your mind to directly communicate with the quantum crucible." Jason hesitated, eyeing the alien device warily. "And what exactly would it do to my brain?" "Nothing permanent," Zira assured him. "Think of it as a translator, converting your thoughts and instincts into quantum algorithms that our systems can understand and implement." Taking a deep breath, Jason nodded and allowed Zira to place the helmet on his head. For a moment, nothing happened. Then suddenly, his mind exploded with information. It was as if he could see and feel the entire history of the Luminari race, their triumphs and tragedies, their hopes and fears. "Focus, Jason," the Archon's voice echoed in his mind. "Find the patterns, see the connections that we cannot." Jason closed his eyes, allowing his thoughts to drift. He saw flashes of Earth's history intertwined with alien worlds, cosmic events that seemed random suddenly revealing hidden synchronicities. And then, like a bolt of lightning, an idea struck him. "The Guardians," he gasped, his eyes flying open. "They're not just creatures, they're living quantum computers." Zira's antenna twitched rapidly. "Explain, please." Jason's words tumbled out in a rush of excitement. "Think about it. Their ability to assimilate and adapt, it's not just biological. They're processing reality itself, quantum tunneling through possibilities to find the optimal form for any situation." The Archon's hologram seemed to pulse brighter. This could be the key we've been missing. But how do we use this knowledge to stop them?" A mischievous grin spread across Jason's face. "We don't stop them, we crash them." Over the next several hours, Jason worked feverishly with the Luminari scientists, explaining his audacious plan. They would create a quantum virus, a cascade of paradoxes and logical loops that would overwhelm the Guardian's ability to process reality. "It's like a blue screen of death," Jason explained, referencing an ancient human computing term, "but on a cosmic scale." As the quantum crucible hummed with activity, implementing Jason's ideas faster than he could articulate them, Zira pulled him aside. "This plan," she said, her voice low, "it's brilliant, but also incredibly dangerous. If we miscalculate, we could tear apart the fabric of space-time itself. Jason nodded grimly. I know, but sometimes you have to risk everything to save everything. Just then, an alarm blared through the Nexus. The Archon's hologram flickered to life, its expression grave. The Guardians have breached our outer defenses. They'll reach the city within hours. Jason's heart raced, but he forced himself to remain calm. Then we'd better work faster. Zira, I need you to help me fine-tune the quantum calculations. Archon, can you mobilize your people? We'll need every available mind linked to the Crucible to pull this off. As the Luminaries scrambled to implement Jason's plan, he couldn't help but marvel at the bizarre turn his life had taken. Here he was, a simple human explorer, now the linchpin in a plan to save an entire civilization, and possibly the galaxy. The hours flew by in a blur of frantic activity. Jason's mind, augmented by the neural interfacer, worked at speeds he never thought possible. He saw quantum equations as vivid as paintings, manipulated subatomic particles like building blocks, and wove paradoxes into a tapestry of cosmic proportions. Finally, as the distant rumble of approaching Guardians shook the cavern, Jason stepped back from the quantum crucible. It's ready, he announced, his voice hoarse from exhaustion. Zira looked at him, her alien features etched with a mixture of hope and fear. Are you certain this will work? Jason managed a weak smile. Honestly, I have no idea, but that's kind of the point. The Archon's hologram addressed the assembled luminary. My people, the moment of truth is upon us. For too long we have hidden in the shadows, paralyzed by the threat of our own creations. But today, thanks to this child of Earth, we take our stand. A cheer went up from the crowd, a haunting melodic sound that sent shivers down Jason's spine. As the Guardian's roars grew closer, he placed his hand on the activation panel of the quantum crucible. Here goes nothing, he muttered, and pressed down. The air itself seemed to ripple as waves of quantum energy pulsed outward from the crucible. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, the cavern was filled with an otherworldly screech, the sound of reality itself being rewritten. Through the neural interfacer, Jason could see it all. The Guardians, those mountainous monstrosities, were twisting and writhing, their very atoms rebelling against them. Paradoxes bloomed in their silicon minds, cascading through their neural networks like wildfire. But something was wrong. The quantum cascade wasn't just affecting the Guardians, it was spreading, consuming everything in its path. Jason watched in horror as the edges of the cavern began to blur and distort. It's too much. Zira cried out. The reaction is destabilizing. Jason's mind raced. They had overlooked something, some crucial variable in their calculations. But what? And then, in a moment of crystal clarity, he understood. It's me, he said, a strange calm settling over him. The virus needs a human mind to contain it, to give it focus. Before anyone could stop him, Jason plunged his hands directly into the swirling vortex of the quantum crucible. Pain unlike anything he had ever experienced seared through his body, but he gritted his teeth and held on. Through the maelstrom of quantum energy, he could see the Guardians disintegrating, their massive forms collapsing into pools of inert matter. But more than that, he saw the vast tapestry of reality itself, threads of possibility stretching out to infinity. With the last of his strength, Jason pulled those threads together, weaving them into a new pattern. A pattern that would ensure the safety of the Luminary, the containment of the Guardians, and the preservation of the delicate balance between order and chaos. As darkness closed in around him, Jason heard Zira's voice, distant and fading. You did it, Jason. You saved us all. And then there was only light. Quantum rebirth. Jason floated in an endless sea of possibilities, his consciousness scattered across a million realities. Time had no meaning here, in this liminal space between existence and oblivion. Fragments of memories flashed before him. Earth, the crash, Zira's alien beauty, the terrifying Guardians, all swirling in a kaleidoscope of quantum potential. Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through the chaos. "Jason Carter, child of Earth, it is time to return." With a gasp, Jason's eyes snapped open. He found himself lying on a bed of shimmering crystal, surrounded by pulsing bio-organic technology. Zira stood nearby, her antenna quivering with what Jason now recognized as relief. "Welcome back," she said softly. We weren't sure you'd make it." Jason tried to sit up, but his body felt strange, almost weightless. "How long was I out?" The Archon's hologram flickered to life. Time is a curious thing when one has touched the fabric of reality itself. For us, it has been 3 cycles. For you? Well, that's a more complex question. As Jason's vision cleared, he noticed something odd about his hands. They seemed to shimmer slightly, as if not quite solid. "What happened to me?" Zira approached, her expression a mixture of awe and concern. "Your sacrifice saved us all, Jason. The quantum virus you created neutralized the Guardians, but the process changed you." The Archon nodded solemnly. "You have become something new, Jason Carter. A bridge between quantum realities existing in multiple states simultaneously. You are, in a very real sense, both here and everywhere." Jason's mind reeled as he tried to process this information. He focused on his hand, willing it to solidify, and watched in amazement as it did so. "I can control it, to an extent," Zira explained. "Your human consciousness acts as an anchor, allowing you to maintain a physical form. But you also exist beyond the constraints of normal space-time. You are, for lack of a better term, a quantum human." As if to demonstrate, Jason felt a strange tugging sensation. Suddenly, he was no longer in the crystal chamber, but standing on the planet's surface. The landscape had changed dramatically. Where once there were only twisted rock formations, now a lush alien forest thrived. In the distance, he could see the remnants of the Guardians, their massive forms now serving as the foundation for a new ecosystem. Another shift and Jason found himself back in the underground city of Lumina. But it was different now, open to the sky, with Luminari and other alien species mingling freely in its bioluminescent streets. "Your actions didn't just save us from the Guardians," the Archon's voice echoed in his mind. "They reshaped our entire world, ushering in a new era of growth and cooperation." Jason's head spun as he tried to take it all in. "This is incredible. But what does it mean for me, for Earth?" Zira placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, the touch grounding him in the present reality. "It means, Jason, that you now have a choice. You can return to Earth as a herald of this new cosmic age, or you can stay here and help us navigate the challenges ahead." "But be warned," the Archon added, its holographic form seeming to flicker between multiple versions of itself. "Your newfound abilities come with great responsibility. There are forces in the universe that would seek to exploit your power for their own ends." As if on cue, Jason felt another pull. This time, he found himself in orbit above the planet, witnessing a massive space battle. Ships of designs he'd never seen before clashed in silent, deadly combat. At the center of it all was a pitch-black vessel that seemed to devour light itself. "The Void Collective," Zira's voice whispered in his mind. "An ancient enemy that seeks to unravel the very fabric of reality. They sense the quantum disturbance you created and have come to investigate." Jason watched in horror as the dark ship effortlessly tore through the planet's defenses. He knew, with a certainty that transcended normal human intuition, that if this enemy obtained the secrets of his transformation, it would mean the end of everything. With a thought, he was back in the crystal chamber. Zira and the Archon looked at him expectantly, aware that he had witnessed a glimpse of the looming threat. "I understand now," Jason said, his voice resonating with newfound power. "This isn't just about saving your world or mine. It's about protecting the entire quantum tapestry of existence." The Archon's hologram bowed slightly. "You grasp the magnitude of the situation quickly, quantum human. What will you do?" Jason stood, marveling at how his body now seemed to flow between states of matter effortlessly. He thought of Earth, of the life he'd left behind. He thought of Zira and the Luminary, and the incredible journey that had brought him to this point. And he thought of the Void Collective, the existential threat looming on the horizon. "I'll stay," he said finally. "Earth isn't ready for this level of cosmic awareness. But I can help prepare your people, gather allies, and stand against the darkness that's coming." Zira's antenna quivered with what Jason now recognized as joy. "We welcome you, Jason Carter of Earth, quantum human and protector of realities." As the weight of his decision settled upon him, Jason felt a surge of determination. He was no longer just an explorer or even a savior. He was a cosmic keystone, a linchpin in the great quantum dance of existence, and he would do whatever it took to preserve the beautiful, chaotic tapestry of life across all realities. "All right," he said, a hint of his old human bravado creeping into his voice. "Let's show these Void Collective goons what happens when they mess with a guy from Earth." With that, Jason Carter, the quantum human, stepped forward into a new chapter of existence, one filled with wonders beyond imagination, dangers beyond comprehension, and the promise of adventures that would span the very fabric of reality itself. Quantum Crusader. The vast expanse of space shimmered like a cosmic tapestry, stars and galaxies woven into its fabric. Suddenly, a ripple of energy disrupted the serene backdrop, and from it emerged a figure that defied conventional physics. Jason Carter, the quantum human, materialized in the void, his body a swirling amalgamation of matter and energy. Void Collective vessels detected in Sector 7 Gamma. Zira's voice echoed in his mind through their quantum entanglement link. "The Luminary fleet is en route, but they won't arrive in time." Jason's eyes, now glowing with otherworldly power, scanned the starscape. "I see them. Time to crash this party." With a thought, he propelled himself through space at impossible speeds, leaving a trail of quantum particles in his wake. As he approached the battle zone, he witnessed a horrifying sight. The Void Collective's nightmarish ships, resembling writhing masses of tentacles and shadows, were tearing through the defenses of a peaceful aquatic civilization. "Not on my watch," Jason growled, his voice reverberating across multiple dimensions. He focused his consciousness, tapping into the quantum field that permeated all of existence. Time seemed to slow as he analyzed the battle from a million different angles simultaneously. In that frozen moment, he saw every possible outcome, every potential strategy. Then he acted. Jason's body split into multiple quantum echoes, each one targeting a different void ship. He phased through their advanced shields as if they were made of mist, his very presence disrupting their dark matter engines. "Hey Adelies," his voice boomed across all frequencies. "Ever dance with a quantum human in the pale moonlight?" Before the enemy could react, Jason unleashed a barrage of quantum-entangled energy blasts. The attacks hit with pinpoint precision, exploiting weaknesses that existed in multiple realities at once. Void ships began to implode, collapsing in on themselves as their dimensional anchors were severed. But the collective was not so easily defeated. Their flagship, a colossal abomination that seemed to devour light itself, turned its attention to Jason. A beam of pure anti-existence lanced out, threatening to erase him from all possible timelines. Jason grinned, his body flickering between states of matter. "Sorry, but I don't do erasers." He reached out with his mind, grasping the very fabric of space-time. With a Herculean effort, he twisted reality itself, creating a quantum mirror that reflected the deadly beam back at its source. The Void flagship shuddered as its own weapon tore through its defenses, ripping holes in its dimensional structure. As the battle raged on, Jason became aware of a presence in his mind, ancient, vast, and utterly alien. The consciousness of the Void Collective itself was reaching out to him. "Quantum anomaly," it hissed in a voice that seemed to come from the heat death of 1,000,000,000,000 universes. "You are an aberration, a flaw in the grand design. Join us, and together we will unmake creation and forge a new, perfect reality." For a moment, Jason felt the pull of that dark promise, the power to reshape all of existence, to erase every mistake and every regret. But then he thought of Earth, of Zira and the Luminary, of all the wondrous and chaotic beauty he had witnessed across the cosmos. "Thanks for the offer," he replied, his voice steady. "But I like reality just the way it is, messy, unpredictable, and full of possibilities." With that declaration, Jason unleashed the full extent of his quantum powers. He became a living storm of probability, each movement creating and destroying entire timelines. The void ships found themselves trapped in recursive loops of cause and effect, their dark technologies unraveling in the face of pure human chaos. As the flagship began to buckle under the strain of Jason's assault, he sensed a surge of desperate energy. The Void Collective was attempting a last-ditch effort to tear open a rift to its home dimension. "Oh no, you don't," Jason muttered. He focused all his power into a single point, creating a quantum singularity that began to draw in the collapsing void ships. The fabric of space-time groaned under the strain as Jason wrestled with the full might of the collective. Sweat beaded on his brow as he fought to contain the dimensional rift, to prevent the darkness from spilling out into this reality. Just when it seemed he might be overwhelmed, a familiar voice cut through the chaos. "Jason," Zira called out. "The Luminary fleet has arrived. We're here." A surge of emotion, relief, joy, love, coursed through Jason. That moment of pure, human feeling became the tipping point. With a final, reality-shaking effort, he sealed the rift and collapsed the quantum singularity, taking the remnants of the Void Collective with it. As the last echoes of the battle faded, Jason found himself floating amidst the debris, exhausted but triumphant. The Luminary ships surrounded him, their crews cheering in a chorus that transcended species. Zira's ship pulled alongside him, and he saw her beaming face through the viewscreen. "You did it, Jason. You saved an entire sector of the galaxy." Jason managed a tired smile. Just another day in the life of a quantum human, right? As the adrenaline of battle faded, Jason became aware of a subtle change within himself. His connection to the quantum field felt deeper, more intuitive. He realized that each challenge, each battle, was pushing the boundaries of his powers, evolving him into something beyond even the Luminary's predictions. The Archon's hologram flickered to life beside him. "You continue to surpass all expectations, Jason Carter. But be warned, your victory today will not go unnoticed. There are older, darker forces in the universe that will see you as a threat to the cosmic order." Jason nodded, a mix of determination and excitement coursing through him. Let them come. Whatever's out there, whatever cosmic horrors or interdimensional threats are lurking in the shadows, I'll be ready, because I've got something they'll never understand. "And what's that?" Zira asked, her antenna twitching with curiosity. Jason's eyes twinkled with that uniquely human spark of defiance and hope. Humanity, with all its flaws, all its strengths, and all its beautiful, chaotic potential. As the Luminary fleet prepared to return home, Jason took one last look at the starfield around him. Somewhere out there, Earth continued on, blissfully unaware of the cosmic dramas unfolding across the galaxy. Someday, he knew, he would return home, when humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. But for now, there were worlds to save, mysteries to unravel, and an entire universe of possibilities to explore. Jason Carter, once a simple human explorer, now the quantum crusader, squared his shoulders and grinned. "All right, universe," he said to the cosmos at large. "Show me what you've got." And with that, he vanished in a burst of quantum energy, ready for whatever mind-bending, reality-warping adventure awaited him next. The legend of the quantum human was only just beginning, and the cosmos would never be the same again.